The early 90s set the stage for sludge metal as a genre shaped by geography. Each regional scene forged its own interpretation of heaviness, but by the late 90s, sludge had spread far beyond its origins. One band emerged from Honolulu to carry that weight. This is the story of Hawaii's soul sludge metal band, Crucible. Crucible's story begins with guitarist Derek Haderman. His roots in heavy music go back to the 80s, playing in a crossover band while living in California. A zoology and genetics graduate, he spent his days in laboratories, keeping his guitar nearby and jamming while observing biochemical reactions. In 1997, Haderman redirected his focus back toward heavy music, joining forces with vocalist Mike Ching after his band Epidemic was in search of a guitarist. What started as friends jamming hardcore and heavy metal in a garage quickly took on a more serious identity. As Haderman pushed for original material, early members dropped out. The band's rehearsal schedule made it clear this was not a casual project, and more departures followed. Haderman kept his day job, but the band was never treated as a side hobby. When the group discovered their name was already taken by a mainland act, Epidemic became Crucible. Shaped by this intense rehearsal schedule and an uncompromising commitment to original material, after a year of live shows across Honolulu and Waikiki, Crucible entered the studio in early 1998 to record their first album, Unshattered. Haderman took on the role of producer, determined the band document their sound, even as lineup instability continued. When the band's bassist abruptly vanished during the recording process, Haderman erased the existing bass tracks and re-recorded them himself. Keely Kahahu, drummer for Broken Man, was brought in to assist as well. As Haderman later explained, "We did the album because I wanted to document what we had done at that point, and I wasn't going to let anything slow us down." The music is a blend of influences, rooted in old-school Bay Area crossover and more modern metal such as Pantera and Sepultura. Here the vocals take a more traditional hardcore punk approach, and there's a heavier focus on thrash-driven speed. Mixed with dense chugging beatdowns, the album reflects both aggression and weight throughout. Amid the album's intensity, the acoustic piece Son of the Caldera reveals the band's willingness to explore beyond pure heaviness. Crucible's music drew from Haderman's long-standing connection to skate culture, while Mike's lyrics were straight to the point. Haderman noted that, "People write and sing about whatever they care about. For us, it's social consciousness, and the core of it is original thinking. Some of our music has a downward groove, but when you hear what we're talking about, we're preaching a success story. Imitation is suicide. Mindless conformity is a fate worse than death. If you have yourself, that's all you need." Highly recommended for fans of thrash and groove metal. While not yet sludge metal, this emphasis on downward grooves hints at the direction Crucible would soon pursue. After Unshattered was completed, Crucible's ambitions quickly extended beyond Hawaii. With extreme heavy music limited locally, and rather than wait for outside recognition, Derek Haderman took matters into his own hands. Determined and embracing a fiercely independent approach, he built an online presence for the band, promoting their music internationally. By early 1999, that persistence had materialized into Crucible's first overseas tour. With Mike Evans on bass, Haderman asked Keeley to join Crucible on tour, with the other members of Broken Man giving their approval. The band departed Honolulu in February for a self-financed European tour that would carry them across the continent for 6 weeks. Traveling from Portugal to Estonia in rapid succession, the tour spanned 15 countries and pushed the group into environments far removed from their island origins. The scale of the undertaking was extraordinary for a band from Hawaii. As Haderman recalled, "Only 2 heavy bands have ever been to Lithuania from the United States. We'll be the 3rd, and they couldn't believe that there's a band like us in Hawaii." The run would culminate at the Repulsive Festival in Madrid, Spain. Crucible would travel to Japan later that year. The tour itself was a substantial risk. Entirely self-funded and self-produced, it reflected Haderman's philosophy. If you wait around for that magical someone to come out and discover you, it's never going to happen. You have to be self-reliant. Take the initiative and get out there, no matter what. Following their European tour, the band was once again confronted by the reality of their local environment. Opportunities for extreme heavy music remained scarce. Working in collaboration with Evan Howell, editor and publisher for the Remnants of Reason fanzine, Havoc in Hawaii was born. Havoc in Hawaii became Crucible's way of bringing bands to the islands while giving attention to local acts as well. The first Havoc in Hawaii arrived in December of 1999, featuring Skin Lab from San Francisco and Pissing Razors from El Paso. In March of 2000, Havoc in Hawaii 2 escalated the series' significance with the appearance of Crowbar, promoting their album Equilibrium. Crowbar and New Orleans Sludge would prove to have a big impact on the band's direction and sound. The series culminated in Havoc in Hawaii 3 with Testament in December of 2001. Crucible performed at all these shows along with locals Broken Man. Haderman's motivations were rooted in a broader frustration with Hawaii's cultural positioning. One of the reasons I'm doing this is because it seems like Hawaii gets everything last. When the rest of the world has heard about it, then it comes to Hawaii. We're like the last frontier. Havoc in Hawaii had ultimately reflected the same philosophy that propelled Crucible beyond the islands. We want to show people that it's not that difficult to do something you want to do if you just dig into it, do the research, contact the right people, and show them you're for real. Entering a new phase with Evan Howell on drums, in 2002, Crucible brought in New Orleans producer Keith Falgout to assist with their second album, Souls Worn Thin. Keith Falgout is associated with some of the most influential recordings to emerge from New Orleans. Bands such as Acid Bath, Abuse, Crowbar, Shroom, Soylent Green, and many more. The influence of New Orleans sludge becomes unmistakable here. The sound is massive, built on enormous riffs and dynamic rhythms. The result felt both heavier and more mature. Expanding on the aggression of Unshattered, the band slowed their approach considerably, tuning down to B standard while maintaining a constant sense of momentum. As drummer Evan Howell explained, the biggest changes from Unshattered are the changes in speed, the growth in vocalist Mike Ching's delivery, and the godly analog production here. Howell described the album as a blending of old school skatecore and Crowbar, Derek's riffs being heavier than thou, but also incorporating the experience of one who witnessed the great core days of California in the 80s. Despite the slower pacing, the material never drifts into drone or death doom territory. Instead, the songs remain firmly locked into groove-driven structures. Much of the album recalls Crowbar's faster material, yet the atmosphere is notably less depressive and more aggressive. Where Crowbar often projects melancholy, Crucible emphasizes sheer force. the album delivering one punishing sequence after another. The title track stands as a defining statement. Anchored by sustained doomy riffage, it unfolds as an absolute sludge anthem. Beyond sheer heaviness, the album also carried moments of unexpected texture. Featuring Keith Falgout on grand piano, the track Isolation is simultaneously trippy, mellow, and heavy. While Souls Worn Thin defined a pivotal moment in Crucible's sound, the band's trajectory was still unfolding. By 2006, the lineup shifted with Eric Daguio on bass and Jason Cueva on drums. Nearly a decade from their formation, Crucible had become a persistent presence within Hawaii's heavy music scene. Continuing with the sonic foundation that was laid by Souls Worn Thin, Crucible released their third album, Scars of the Hardened. The album retains the band's groove-centered heaviness and riff-driven weight. However, the most noticeable change here is the addition of clean vocals and some dark, doomy grunge throughout, both reminiscent of Alice in Chains. The album cover carries its own notable distinction, featuring cover art by Alan Forbes, an artist widely recognized for his contributions to underground music imagery, including Acid King, Cavity, Deadbird, and more. Even after almost 10 years of lineup shifts and challenges, Crucible's momentum had continued. The album's release was marked by a celebratory show alongside Killswitch Engage. During this period, the band also filmed 3 to 4 official music videos. However, like many others during the MySpace era, these music videos have sadly been lost to time. At some point following Scars of the Hardened, Crucible quietly dissolved, bringing an end to one of Hawaii's most distinctive metal bands. Emerging from one of the most geographically isolated metal scenes imaginable, Crucible were a band that existed not because conditions were ideal, but because someone refused to accept that they weren't. Like many bands rooted in the underground, their history survives through the imprint left on those who encountered them, and through those who continue to seek out the best that obscure metal has to offer. Thanks for watching.